Welcome to Q104.3's Sunstein Sunday. Here's your host, Shelley Sunstein.
Good morning. Now, people who listen to me regularly know that I am somewhat of a fitness freak. My biggest nightmare ever would be injured. And knock wood, I have not been injured in a very long time. But if I was injured, the man that I would immediately call is the man sitting next to me, and that's John Gallucci, Jr. He is the president and CEO of JAG Physical Therapy. And just a short aside, first of all, welcome and Happy New Year, because I haven't seen you so far this year. But we have one of our players from Z100 down the hall who just swears by you, John. And I just noticed now, not only is he ailing in his hand, he's ailing in his foot or his ankle, and he just, like, you're his God.
Well, it's like, as we like to say, you break it, we fix it, and we've been very fortunate. And unfortunately, every day people are getting hurt, especially recently with the weather that we're having and, you know, our everyday sports injuries or our everyday active injuries. So it's good that we can help people and get them back into the game of life or the life they love. And
by the way, John is not only the CEO and president of JAG, he is the medical coordinator for Major League Soccer. So we're talking, you know, major props and, you know, I mean, this is the guy. But I wanted to ask you about something that I saw in the newspaper, and it came as total news to me. I know that my doctor said I should be taking vitamin D. It's the only thing from all the blood work that she did on me. The only thing she recommended was you got to take some vitamin D, even though I try to get outside for 15 minutes a day, and you're supposed to get the vitamin D from the sunlight. But I heard that vitamin D is actually a way to protect you from injuries.
Well, you know, the studies that have come out in the last 5 years with vitamin D is, we are finding that more and more people are lacking vitamin D because they're not out in the sunshine. We're spending way too much time indoors. And so people are turning to supplements, and the rationale is to strengthen the bones and, you know, and make sure that our body is healing the way it's supposed to. And there's different ramifications of healing properties that go in with the utilization of vitamin D. So I think it's very, very important that we make sure all our vitamin D levels are appropriate with a simplistic blood test. And if you need some sort of supplementation, great. But as I always like to say, let's get outside a little bit more. Even our children, they don't play outside too much. They're playing too much with their games inside and video games. You know, I have two ends of the spectrum, as you know. I have an 11-year-old son and a 20-year-old daughter. The 20-year-old daughter was outside all the time. The 11-year-old and all his friends were all about playing the video games. And I literally come home from work and throw them outside in the backyard and make them play other games such as football or soccer. So we need to get everybody off the couch and outside and trying to get some real vitamin D from the sunshine. But if you do have a deficiency, it's a great idea to start taking some sort of supplementation.
Does sunscreen actually block the vitamin D?
So there's theories on whether or not the levels of sunscreen block a vitamin D or not. I think that some of the clinical trials coming out with some of the different lotions are letting and letting it get into the skin and absorb the way it's supposed to. I think that the pharmaceutical companies that make all these sunscreens are smart enough to understand that since there is a lack of vitamin D deficiency, that they're all starting to realize that their type of lotions and sunscreens have to start to let the D get absorbed through.
I'm speaking with John Gallucci, Jr. He is the president and CEO of JAG Physical Therapy. He's also the medical coordinator for Major League Soccer. And John is on a campaign to get certified athletic trainers assigned to our children's sports.
Well,
why?
Well, the biggest thing is so I've been a certified athletic
trainer.
Other
than creating a lot of jobs, and I'm all for creating jobs.
So I've been a certified athletic trainer for 25 years. It was my primary career before becoming even a physical therapist, and I worked in every level of sports, from professional level to college level to high school level. And it amazes me, here I am 25 years later, and I see that we have no legislature throughout our country based on the aggressiveness of sports injuries that we've seen just in the last 5 years, the studies that have come out in reference to concussion, the issues that we've had with spinal injuries, the issues that we've had with children with overuse injuries, that there is no true legislature out there that mandates certified athletic trainers at the high school level or the club sport level. So I always like to say the organized sport level. I think it's important that if we can't start a game without a referee, how can we possibly start a game without a medical professional? In our country, we have certified athletic trainers that are licensed to take care of active people, but yet we don't mandate the utilization to protect our children. I think it's very, very important that we as a country, parents, coaches, really start to get involved and try to get these certified athletic trainers at every event.
So are you actually trying to push for a law?
I actually, in New York and New Jersey, I've reached out to different assemblymen and senators to try to support this. I've been having some great conversations recently with them. We've got a couple of great parent groups and organization. The two state associations, the athletic training associations, both are supporting the initiative. The really nice thing is in New Jersey, I would say close to 80% of the high schools do have certified athletic trainers. But there is no legislature, and every time there's budget cuts, those athletic training jobs are put on because they're looked at as a luxury as opposed to a necessity. I think in New York and New Jersey, we need to be the first states to truly push hard to become a legislative component.
And I would assume that the reason you're pushing for this is that the best way to deal with an injury is to prevent an injury from happening to begin with.
What better way to keep a child on the field, on the ice, on the court than to have a medical professional that's aware of different pathological things such as your deviation of your gait patterns, the way you move, be able to pick it up earlier, be able to diagnose it, be able to deal with a physician quicker, help that physician during the rehabilitation process, and keep the athletes. Too many of our kids get hurt, end up going to the emergency room. By the time they go to the emergency room, they got to go to a specialist. By the time they go to the specialist, it's 4 to 6 weeks later, where if they were getting immediate care from day one, maybe they could be back on the field within 3 to 4 weeks as opposed to not even getting into the therapeutic component for the 5 to 6 weeks.
I'm not getting how it would shorten the delay of getting back into action. If they're injured, they're injured.
Well, a certified athletic trainer could definitively pick up on the injury quicker based on the different ways that they may be limping or moving or something. Also, they're right there on the field. They can help the detection. As we know, concussions have become prevalent throughout our society. A coach or a parent, although they understand based on education signs and symptoms, who better to be able to refer to a physician with those signs and symptoms than another medical professional, and who better to help those children go through the return to play protocol, let it be for concussion or let it be for a simplistic return to play after a sprained ankle. Don't we want to make sure our children go back on the field and they're safe and aren't going to get re-injured because they went back too early? A certified athletic trainer could put them through functional skills tests before they return. So there's two ends that a certified athletic trainer are important, on the initial injury and on the rehabilitation and return to play.
You know, there are so many things that worry parents now when it comes to their kids in sports. You know, you mentioned concussions. That's one of them. But also, I mean, every year when high schools begin the football season and it's so hot, and every year we hear these horrible tragedies of seemingly healthy young men who just drop dead.
You know, we work
training
hard.
In the heat.
The National Athletic Trainers Association have worked very hard to teach people the appropriate ways of hydration. But the problem is the information doesn't trickle down to the youth sports, to the high school sports. The places that do have certified athletic trainers, they're doing a great job in the communication with their coaches and making sure the athletes are hydrated. But if you have a club team that's basically managed by a coach or parents, yes, we know the importance of hydration, but do we know the signs and symptoms of dehydration? Can we get the athlete hydrated appropriately and take care of them?
Speaking of hydration, when my daughter was playing soccer, and she played for so many years, actually 2 of my 3 kids were soccer kids from the age of 3 and 4. One of them, my oldest, she'll be happy to hear, is still playing soccer out in L.A. He organized a team so that they play every single Sunday. But their hydration came from Gatorade. And then I learned fairly recently that Gatorade is full of sugar. And my daughter, who has Crohn's disease, is now told, no, you're not supposed to be drinking the Gatorade because that could actually hurt your stomach because it has too much sugar. I mean, all the rules change all the time. It is so confusing, even for someone like me, you know, who tries to keep up with it. So what's the Gatorade, yes or no?
Well, you know, sports drinks in general.
I mean, that kind of
Right. Sports
drink.
drinks in general over the years have had too much sugar in it. And if you look at the different corporations in the last 3 and 4 years, based on the research that you just said, based on too much sugar, they've all come up with lines with no sugar or light sugar or a combination.
But who would even think that?
The whole theories of these were basically electrolyte replacements. And back when we were all children, we all used to drink Pedialyte when we had a fever. It's basically trying to reproduce or rehydrate with electrolytes. The most important thing we have to do is not get to the point that we have to reproduce.
That's true.
And do it. We need to hydrate our athletes. We always have utilized water throughout professional sports. I had a great opportunity for years to work in Major League Soccer. I'm still working Major League Soccer. We have a hydration policy. We make sure that our athletes are drinking and hydrated. We teach the athletes how to hydrate. The most important thing we could possibly do with the assistance of certified athletic trainers is making sure that our athletes are hydrated and understand how to hydrate. And that's pretty simple, just by a simple urine examination when they're going to the bathroom. And there's charts that can be put up in all the locker rooms and the bathrooms and keeping them hydrated. But also, as I said, coaches don't know the signs and symptoms of dehydration. You go very, very quickly from a simplistic heat cramp to heat exhaustion to heat stroke. As we know, heat stroke and heat exhaustion are fatal problems that can happen to our body. We don't want that to happen. Basically, if we had certified athletic trainers working alongside our coaches and our parents and helping our youth athletes, we'd be doing unbelievable service to our athletes.
I'm speaking with John Gallucci Jr. He is the president and CEO of JAG Physical Therapy, and he's also the medical coordinator for Major League Soccer. It seems to me that going into the field of athletic training would be a good field to go into right now.
It's outstanding. It's an unbelievable medical professional. You get to be with people each and every day that are active, people that definitively want to achieve their goal, let it be a marathon runner to a soccer player to a football player to somebody running track and field. You're dealing with active people. Also, a lot of businesses now, especially different unions across our country, are starting to bring certified athletic trainers in as biomechanists to teach people how to prevent injury on the job.
Oh, I just thought of something. You should be campaigning right here. Q104.3 is one of the gazillion radio stations across the planet that is owned by iHeartMedia. iHeartMedia should have certified athletic trainers. Think of how much healthier our staff would be, not to mention more sane.
Listen, it would be anything to prevent an injury.
This is what we need. I want you to use your resources, John Gallucci Jr.
If certified athletic trainers and physical therapists could work in tandem, we'd have a lot less desk injuries as well. Most of our chairs aren't biomechanically sound. People are looking down too much. They pick up the phone the wrong way. They hold it in the crick of their neck.
What do you mean they pick up the phone? How can you pick up the phone the wrong way?
Absolutely amazing how people
cell phone?
You put it in a crick. Well, a cell phone's even smaller. You put it in the crick of your neck, you go sideways, and then you want to know why the other side of your neck hurts. The human body has to move. It has to be active. And the only way you decrease symptoms of stiffness, soreness, and pain is to move it. And as my teachers used to say, you don't move it, you lose it. And if you're sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day and you're not getting up and you're not in a good biomechanical evaluated seat and your computer isn't in eye level and your keyboard is too low, you're ultimately going to end up having wrist problems, shoulder problems, neck problems, and back problems.
Can I tell you something? I now use a stand-up operation in our studio, and I have the option of a stand-up desk in the bullpen, we call it, where I have my office. Since I've been doing our morning show standing up, again, knock wood, my back has not gone out, not once. Now, granted, I do stretches at the gym, but I always did stretches at the gym. The only thing that has changed, and I have a long commute, so I'm sitting during the commute. The only thing that has changed is standing in well-supported shoes. Right? Could it do that?
Absolutely. Well, you lose the tightness. What most people don't realize is sitting is one of the most difficult things to do. Your body has to stay in a flex position. All your core muscles are engaged. You have to be in this static position for a long time. If you hold any muscle in a static position, isn't it going to fatigue and ultimately go into a cramp? So ultimately, we sit for 8 hours a day. Our core is static. Eventually, it's going to go into a cramp, and that's why back injuries happen.
Okay, we have about a minute. What have we not covered that you want to cover, John Gallucci Jr.?
I think we've got it all going, and I think that if there's anything we can do, please look for us at jagpt.com.
That's JAGPT.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, and I know I'll be having you up during the year. And again, thank you for everything that you have done to keep us healthy, including down the hall at Z100. And I will be back in a moment with more Q104.3.
Q104.3's Sunstein Sunday.